The popular stereotypes portray them as natty, untrustworthy lady killers, or as bumbling, clownish idiots, good at music and dancing. Mitchell and Kenyon filmed such street processions all over the country. Fake African tribesmen in leopard skin tunics and black clowns in Accrington. Black men in kilts in Birkenhead. And a drainpipe band in Halifax. In all probability, people didn't think they were being racist when blacking up. For them, it was just innocent entertainment. Asians then were given more respect. Gandhi and Prince Ranji, the cricketer, studied in England. While these Indian sailors march alongside white servicemen in Liverpool on one of the most patriotic occasions of the year, Trafalgar Day. Ports like Bristol and Liverpool had always had a small black population since the slave trade. These three black men are coming off the commuter ferry on the Wirral. However, in most cities, black people were a tiny minority. This little black girl on the bottom seems only just to squeeze into the picture. This chap has clearly been asked by the showman in the top hat to join in the crowd. Mitchell and Kenyon might have been up to tricks. The black miner in this film has clean shirt sleeves. It looks like he hasn't been down the pit at all. To amuse the audience, the filmmakers may have placed a genuine black face, a fairground entertainer, amongst the blackened faces of the miners. The fairs are one of the few places where there are job opportunities for black people. So we went in search of someone who could tell us about fairground life in Mitchell and Kenyon's day for black and white alike. In entertainment and fairground communities, there's no difficulty tracking people down, no need to go to the library or use a 1901 census. These are very close-knit communities with a strong sense of the history of fairground shows and families. Celine Williams's family has been one of the most important on the fairground for generations.
You come on a fairground and you would see coloured people on the boxing booths. Sometimes you would find them working on the shows or on the rides. Nobody barred. There you are, look. 2 rounds, nobody barred. So if you go 2 rounds in the ring and you come off the best man, that would be your reward. They were noted for being good fighters with the coloureds. There he's got the trumpet, blowing it to draw the crowds and draw the attention. There you are, he's throwing a challenge out, you with me, look. And you see he's pointing to himself. Here's another one rattling, 2 rattles. He's offering money, look at money in his hand. He's got boxing gloves. Can you see him throwing them up? Now over his arm there.
The black boxer on the right, holding up the coin, is probably Bill Johnson, who landed in Liverpool from West Africa in 1897 and joined the fairground boxing booths to make money. But boxing was just one of the attractions of the fair.
That show there is what remains of my great-grandfather, Randall Williams's original show, First Moving Pictures, on the fairgrounds. There's the traction engine that generated light. That's guess your weights. Best part of it would be brass and polished. And whoever's operating it would guess the person's weight. And if he was right, then, mind you, you had to, sometimes if it was a lady, you had to be a bit careful. Bostock and Wombwell's Menagerie. There you are, you can see the band there. There's his band. There's 2 live bears. Clowns. Here comes the tumbler. Watch him. There's a clown, look, tumbling. There's a fruit stall. Then you see he's putting salt and vinegar on. She's making cones, paper cones from the paper there. She's rolling it round her hand. He's filling them and selling them. It could be chips, but it looks more like small potatoes to me.
A.D. Thomas's shows had enjoyed huge popularity, but then it all went pear-shaped. It was expensive to hire public halls and buy cinematograph machines. It suddenly got too much. He overstretched himself. In April 1902, he was declared bankrupt. For 51 weeks a year, the coal pits, factories and cotton mills were busy. But each week in the summer, called Wakes Week, a different town would shut down for the greatest holiday of the year. Originally a one-day holiday of the local patron saint, by Mitchell and Kenyon's day, this is expanded to a whole week free. Factory owners gave no holiday pay. The right to paid holidays wasn't introduced till after the Second World War. So the week before, called Bull Week, all the workers had to work double shift to keep up productivity. Little surprise then, they looked so exhausted in these films. Richard and Kenyon rushed from one town to the next throughout the summer months, filming workers leaving their factories and handing out leaflets to let people know where the films were to be shown. When Wakes Week finally came along, Richard and Kenyon joined the holidaying throng as they took a train to the seaside. Holidays were the new wonder of the age, and the most important resort for the north of Britain was Blackpool. What this meant is during the holiday season, entire towns transferred here, which meant that effectively you went on holiday with your neighbours. Some people came for one day, others who'd saved up lots of money would stay for the entire week. Blackpool was, I suppose, rather like Marbella and Alton Towers combined. Exotic, romantic, magical. Blackpool was booming. Over 2.5 million visitors came within sight of the Blackpool Tower each year by 1901. Soon the promenade had to be extended. The sheer pressure of visitor numbers meant that widening it became inevitable. Builders used sand from the beach to broaden the road by 100 feet. Blackpool even then was seen as the most working class of the seaside resorts. It was unpretentious, with a huge number of pubs and many open-air amusements. Other resorts had different reputations. Next door, Lytham St Anne's was posher, while Southport was both religious and sedate. People flocked to the West Coast resorts in particular because these towns were accessible by the new train routes. City dwellers from neighbouring cotton towns and places far further afield could be transported to the sea in a couple of hours. Morecambe Bay was particularly popular with people from the other side of the Pennines because of the direct train routes from Bradford and Leeds. Morecambe became known as Bradford by the Sea. There are all sorts of entertainments, from the tasteful to the tasteless to the bizarre. Fortune-telling, waxworks, and two-headed mermaids in the less smart areas. It's not immediately obvious what this man is selling. It looks to me like it could be foxtails. This film shows entertainments on Victoria Pier, Blackpool. There's a crowd gathering, chaps playing instruments. All looks very sedate. Ah, a poster. H. Flockton Foster. Entertainers 3 times daily. What's in store? Very smart crowd. Seaside clothes, but I say smart. They're formal ties and boaters. Ah, it's a kind of Gilbert and Sullivan number. Sort of naval attire. The girls are all moving together, the men are moving together, going backwards and forwards, round about each other. Oh my God, cartwheels, absolutely lovely. And the crowd are, sadly, half of them looking at the camera. Oh no, look, there's a chap here. What's he doing? He's collecting money in a hat. Must be working for Mr. Foster. Very, very cheery scene. There's a baby with a gigantic hat. We managed to track down someone who could help us identify a member of Mr. Foster's troupe, Slim Ingram.
I think that is Arthur, third from the left. Yes, I'm sure. It's about the same size, the right height that he should be, and the age he should have been at that time. He would have been 16, 17. Yes, I'm sure that's Arthur. Sure of it.
Arthur was still treading the boards 50 years later when the young Slim Ingram came to be his manager.
We got on like a house on fire, we really did. You could compare him with any friend that you had. He was that sort of man. He was nice, he was shy, he was retiring, he never made a fuss of anything. These fellas, they worked very hard. 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and probably 7 o'clock at night again. Look at the crowd that was watching. All in the Sunday finery. Gentlemen in the bowler hats and ladies in their hats. And there's a bottler. You didn't pay for the entertainment. They used to come round and do a collection, which was called bottling. Some of the artists were better at bottling than others. North Pier, Blackpool. Look at the crowds on there. This was one of the things that was popular about piers. It let the ladies of the day in their floral hats and their long dresses and the bustles walk out to sea without getting on a boat. There was never any question of being seasick. And the gentleman, look at him with his top hat on and silk revers on his coat. And the boys and the children all smartly dressed. And it was a great thing to be together. They just kept walking and strolling about. No fighting, no nothing. Look at that lady with a cape on there. I think we always referred to that type of a hat as a cowpat hat that sat snugly on top of the head. But they had a lot of pleasure in coming to Blackpool, and they would do that day in and day out. Oh, look at that, a boy with his school cap on. He must have just passed something, and he's proud of what he's won. They were certainly coming to enjoy themselves. You have to remember that these people, this was the only break. They worked 51 weeks a year in cotton mills. That is the shot along the promenade now, which is there. The big wheel is no longer there. That's now on the central pier. And the building there is the Palace Theatre, which was a theatre, cinema and ballroom. And of course, adjoining it, just across a very narrow street, was the Blackpool Tower building, with the tower just to the right of it.
From those 2.5 million visitors in 1901 to 6 million visitors today, Blackpool still claims to be the largest tourist attraction in Britain. Our filmmakers, Sagar Mitchell and James Kenyon, had learned to profit from this blossoming of leisure pastimes, physical activities and time off. They caught on screen the new vogue for athletics, the craze for cycling and all sorts of so-called sporting occasions. What the two filmmakers had unintentionally recorded was indeed a golden age. For working people, it was a time of innocence before the world wars, when life in industrial Britain was becoming less harsh and there were more freedoms. This Gilded Age had touched the partnership of Mitchell and Kenyon, cinematographers. By 1902, they were a well-established, thriving company, welcomed even into the higher reaches of Blackburn business society. Mitchell and Kenyon had filmed the lives of thousands of working people who had more cash than ever before. For the first time, people could afford proper holidays and had leisure time to watch the new popular sports of rugby and football. And it looked as if Mitchell and Kenyon might become one of the most successful and important film companies in Britain. Next, we'll tell the story of Mitchell and Kenyon's growing riches and the effect of the new phenomenon, purpose-built cinemas. We'll show the first ever crime reconstruction, filmed in 1901, and explore saints and sinners in Mitchell and Kenyon's films.